In this video, I am going to discuss one of the easiest things you can do to advance your estate planning process. It is filling out and using POD forms. First off, a disclaimer. I am not a lawyer of any kind, and nor am I a licensed financial planner. I am not providing professional, legal, or financial advice. I am only providing general information based on my personal experiences, research, and opinions. One of the easiest things to do in your own estate planning is utilizing the POD form. The POD form can be used on almost any bank account, like a checking and savings account, as well as retirement accounts and investment accounts. POD stands for payable-on-death. A POD is a written and signed instruction on file with the financial institution to pay your designated beneficiary or beneficiaries upon your death. PODs bypass the traditional probate process. PODs are a free service offered by most financial institutions. A couple years ago, I learned the hard way that not all financial and banking institutions offer PODs. I had some money in an account with a local credit union and only found out later that when I asked for a POD form, they informed me that they don't do PODs. I was actually quite surprised and asked around a couple more times, and I was always given the same answer. They don't do the PODs. And for me, I didn't like that, so I withdrew all my money from that local credit union. Because honestly, there are too many banking and financial institutions that do implement PODs, which is important to me. For me, a POD gives me the peace of mind that if anything were to happen to me and I died, my money would go to my designated beneficiary. I want to point out that every financial and banking institution will have a different looking POD form. Some you have to fill out in person, some you can fill out online, and there are some where they will email you the form. You fill it out at home, you scan it, and then email it back to the financial institution. Most of the POD forms basically ask very similar information. They ask for a beneficiary's legal name, social security number, phone number, birth date. Again, it varies from institution to institution to the specific information that they ask, but they are quite similar. PODs can be changed and updated at almost any time, and I do recommend that you revisit the issue from time to time because relationships change, situations change, circumstances change. POD forms I've seen allow for multiple beneficiaries as well as allowing for different apportionments. For example, if you have a spouse and 2 children, you may want to list 3 beneficiaries, the spouse and the 2 children, and you would apportion 60% to the spouse and 20% each to the 2 children. And even if you don't have a spouse or children, I want to point out that you can still name beneficiaries and assign different percentages to them. For retirement accounts, POD forms allow for contingent beneficiaries. A contingent beneficiary is only paid out if the primary beneficiary is no longer alive or they can't be located. I do want to say that PODs are not 100% foolproof. This is why you will eventually want to get connected and meet with an experienced estate planning lawyer. An example of a POD not being foolproof is if the estate has taxes owed or lots of liabilities and there's not enough money in the overall estate to cover them, the POD bank account could be claimed by creditors or family members. Or you may live in a community property state and you name beneficiaries aside from your spouse. However, in a community property state, your spouse may still have claims to half the money in that account, even though she is an unnamed POD beneficiary. I bring up these examples to remind you that the POD is not 100% foolproof, but I do think there are wonderful instruments that can be easily implemented and executed. And of course, if you have a complex situation, I definitely recommend that you get in contact with an experienced estate planning lawyer. As a side note, there are no PODs with bank accounts in a corporate entity's name. PODs only work with personal accounts. Generally speaking, in order for beneficiaries to claim the money in a POD bank account, they will have to provide a certified copy of a death certificate. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me a favor. Please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for updates. Thank you for watching.